Good evening. November 2023 monthly meeting of Dixon County School Board is now in session. For the record, I'd like to recognize that all our school board members are present, as well as Laura Taylor, Deputy Board Clerk, Ms. Robinson, Division Superintendent, Tanya Baker, Board Clerk, and Scott Mullen, School Board Attorney, could not attend. At this time, would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have the agenda for tonight's meeting. Are there any additions or revisions to the agenda?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. We are deleting number 2 and 3 from the closed session agenda regarding early student graduation and consulting with legal counsel.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented and amended?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. That brings us to public comment. Mr. Hatton, will you please read the guidelines for public comment? Ms. Martin, will you please be our timekeeper?
A period of time for public comment will be designated on the meeting agenda during which the public may comment on issues related to public education. The Dickinson County School Board believes that the citizens of the county should be heard, and this is an acceptable format for receiving public comment. After the public comment section of the meeting is closed, the public shall not be allowed to participate in general board member discussions regarding agenda items. Public participation with the board members regarding agenda items can be disruptive, and the practice is prohibited by Robert's Rules of Order. It is the desire of the school board to treat each member of the public fairly and equally. Allowing one individual to participate while excluding others is unfair. The board may hold such public hearings as may be necessary to allow the public to more fully express their concerns, or the board may place the public comment section of any meeting at the end of the meeting to allow additional public comments. While we do not wish to restrict the free expression of opinion, we feel that certain restrictions may be necessary so that order and reasonable standards of decorum may be maintained. We ask that the following standards be adhered. The speaker will be recognized by the chair. Each speaker will be limited to 5 minutes. Speakers will refrain from the use of vulgarity or profanity and will avoid negative or embarrassing comments directed toward specific children or students. Board members should not respond to issues presented by speakers unless clarification is necessary. Matters of concern raised under public comment will be referred to the proper official for investigation and future board consideration if necessary.
For public comment, we would like to recognize Kathy Music with VPE.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Mrs. Robinson, members of the board. I don't really have anything very exciting to say other than I appreciate all that you do. It is exciting to see on the agenda the amendment to the salary scales. I know that's going to brighten up everybody's Christmas season. And thanks to all the many times the budget had to be redone with the 5%, the 6%. So anyway, thank you for all you do, and I guess I hope you have a great holiday season as we start into that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy.
Is Mr. Tiller present? Sean?
I don't know. I'll tell them about it tomorrow.
That's okay.
I don't want to be the one to break it. All right. Thank you all once again for the opportunity to speak. We've had a meeting. We had to postpone our November meeting, so we'll be meeting on next week for that. It came with the big break for Thanksgiving, kind of threw our schedule off a little bit. So, but in that time, we have been able to fill out our officers that were missing. We were only missing one spot at the time, so we did have Phyllis Mullins rejoin our board now that she's back. So she will be serving in the president-elect position, which has got us filled with there. We're still working on increasing our representation at the schools, because in the past, when we had the multiple schools, we had limited numbers of like reps. And now that we're all together, we can do it more like grade level in buildings or subjects and things of that nature. So they've allowed us greater leeway with representation in each of the buildings. So we're still working to build up those numbers and find willing volunteers. So that's where we stand. And once again, thank you all for looking out for the faculty and staff and everyone in the system. And everybody be really thankful once again with the revised scales. And just hope we can close out this year well and everybody's testing comes successful and that we all make it to the holiday with our sanity intact. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Tiller.
Thank you, Sean.
Is there anyone else for public comment? Our next agenda item is the consent agenda, which includes the approval of minutes, approval of monthly invoices, revenue and expenditure summary, discussion of school activity funds, approval of field trips, approval of new elementary school construction invoices, the approval of construction bank reconciliation document, and Dixon County Public Schools health statement account. Are there any questions or discussion on the consent agenda? Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Our next item is information for the school board. Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and again, good evening, board members. I know that with the light shining in our eyes, we may not see, but Mr. Dave Wagner is with us tonight, our new school board member from the Clinton District, and we welcome him. And he's wearing a red shirt for the Christmas holidays, so again, welcome, and it's great to be with us. Good news, information for the board, we have one, and we'll share this information with Mr. Vanover also. On January the 22nd through the 23rd, we have a VSBA 2024 Capital Conference, and there is an array of engaging sessions and discussions. There's also a session there for new board members, and so again, if you would like to attend this conference, please let Ms. Baker or myself know, and we'll be glad to make all the arrangements for you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Robinson, will you please tell us about good news from our schools?
And before Ms. Martin, as she comes, I'd just like to remind our board that we will recognize the achievements of our students and staff at the December school board meeting, and among them will be the Scholastic Bowl, who has an unblemished record, the DECA Club, who has won several awards at their last competition, the theater group, which presented an excellent play, and the volleyball girls, who for the first time have won the Region D tournament. So we're very proud of all of our students and our staff who work so hard, and we will recognize these students and staff and many and perhaps more at our December meeting. Ms. Martin, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Tonight, for good news from our schools, I have two things to share with you. For the first thing, we'll talk about attendance and enrollment. In your packet, as usual, I have shared with you our attendance percentages for each school. There's also the comparison chart that I give you that has the 4-year comparisons, the entry and withdrawals. the summary of our absence intervention team notes that they meet each month. There's the monthly picture that I do for you, and then I've also given you a snapshot of November's daily attendance, just to give you an idea of what November is looking like, that I'll report on next month. For October's attendance, we are down 8 students. We show that we have 1,848 students that are enrolled in K through 12, 97 in the pre-K and 3-year-old and the postgraduate, for a total of 1,945 students. For our monthly attendance percentage for October, Ridgeview Middle School won it again for the month. This is 2 months in a row with a percentage of 91.92. Clintwood Elementary School was again close behind with 90.91%. As you can see, we're slightly lower this month. In October, we did have a difficult month with a lot of illnesses in the school. We tracked those, a lot of flu, a lot of, I think we had hand, foot, and mouth, and then we had quite a few COVID issues as well. You see the chronic absenteeism numbers there. We are continually monitoring that. Again, like we mentioned last month, if you look at it, if school was to end, at the end of October, the numbers look horrible, and that's just a numbers game. If you look at the end of the year, if it was to end at 180, we are looking pretty good on those numbers. And again, you also see the notes from our intervention team. The schools are working hard. Our attendance clerks, as well as Mr. Edwards, meet each week to try and come up and to work on strategies to work with our schools on chronic absenteeism. It's a constant battle. All school systems are facing this, but we're pushing through and working as diligently as we can to try to combat this monster, if you will. It's a constant struggle. The second thing I'd like to share with you, is I'm delighted to share some good news with you that Dickinson County Public Schools has been awarded two security grants. Both grants were very competitive and based on a couple of different reasons or indicators. They were based on the risk of violence, chronic absenteeism, and also on the poverty rates. Both grants will allow Dickinson County Public Schools to purchase security equipment and improve communication during emergencies and assist with other important and necessary funding for security and safety purposes. The VDOE Security Equipment Grant, we were awarded $136,000, which is what we asked for. This grant will be used for Ridgeview Middle School, Ridgeview High School. And this grant, we have to also do a 25% match. The second grant, which was the Stronger Connections Grant, this grant was a team effort. This was worked on myself, Mark Mullins, and Laura Taylor. This grant we were awarded $330,987.09. I don't know about the 9 cents, but we'll take it. And this will also allow us to purchase some security equipment and different things that we can use for safety purposes for our students. So that's a grand total of $466,987.09. So we're pleased to have that. We've already started looking at, we know how we want to spend it. We've already started. I met with 2 vendors today on getting the ball rolling to start our purchases and so forth. Any questions on?
Ms. Martin, the second grant, the $400, that can be used at Ridgeview Elementary
That
School.
one can be used at Ridgeview Elementary School. And so we're looking at being able to to put things at Ridgeview Elementary School that we already have in place at Ridgeview High School and Ridgeview Middle School. The first security grant, which is the one that we've done for years, the stipulations on that one is the school has to be in existence for 5 years, and then you have to guarantee that the school's going to be in existence for 5 years. So that sort of limits what schools you can purchase for. The Stronger Connections grant does not do that. It's actually a federal grant, and it allows us to purchase things for the new elementary school. So we're looking forward to being able to put some things in place at the new elementary school that we already have in place at the middle school and the high school.
Very good. Does anyone have any questions, Ms. Martin? Thank you, Ms. Martin.
Thank you.
Our next agenda item is update on Ridgeview Elementary School, Mr. Ellswick and Mr. Burge.
Mr. Wallace is coming.
We, of course, have slides, so we like showing pictures.
You have this presentation in your packet. It looks like this.
Yeah,
Can we wait till it comes up?
it's going to,
Okay.
anytime you're ready, Mr. Ellswick.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. We sincerely appreciate the opportunity to be here and provide an update on the new elementary school project. Tim and I, as you can tell, are going to team up to do this. We call it ham and egging, but we couldn't figure out who's the ham and who's the eggs. We'll just do the best we can. But with that said, I'm going to jump in and talk a little bit about the history of the project and kind of recap, all the planning that's taken place and talk about all the good surprises you've had with, the additional funding that you've been able to obtain over the last few years. And also, the decisions that were made and how to use that money to provide the best product you can for the children of Dickinson County. And so, with that said, I will start with the first project, which is the new Ridgeview Elementary School, which, as you all know, was funded by the Corps of Engineers. And as part of your agreement, you had to build at least a 62,000 square foot elementary school to house at least 500 pre-K through fifth grade students. Good news, that project has already been funded by the Corps and paid for. But if we start thinking back about, the good things that happened, after we broke ground on that project, we were able to identify some savings in the project as it was bid out, and we're able to utilize that money. We actually added 2 more classrooms to that building, which actually allowed, to get up to a capacity of about 550 students. The other thing we were able to do, and Tim can attest to this, is we were starting to dig footers. We decided not only to add those 2 classrooms, but we know we need to expand the kitchen and the cafeteria to, to accommodate more students. And so we're able to do that. The other thing, that we were thinking about as we were citing this school is thinking about the future, right? So if you remember, we cited this to allow for future expansion. If you ever had money and could add more classrooms to it, which we have done, we cited that school to allow that to happen. So there was a lot of thinking in there. And one thing I also mentioned is, the kitchen and the cafeteria grew. We also bought larger combi ovens, right, so they could accommodate more students. Next, please. So then, after construction started, you received ESSER funding due to COVID, and we got money, and we were able to utilize that money to actually add 4 more classrooms onto the school, plus 2 collaboration spaces, and a multi-purpose room and some other spaces. That actually increased your capacity to approximately 650 students. The one thing to mention about the multi-purpose room, as you know, that room is to be used as flex space. So if you needed additional classrooms, you could use it for classrooms. It was set up for that. It was also set up for other uses such as, special education needs, which it's being used for today. Next, please. And then, just I guess about back in May, maybe. It's been like 6 months ago. As the school was getting ready to, finish up, and we already had brick on the outside, you were awarded a grant from the Department of Education through the School Construction Assistance Program. And that grant allowed us to add more classrooms. And so we added 4 more classrooms and what we call 2 pull-out spaces, which are in essence classrooms as well, can be used for that purpose. And some additional restrooms, because we needed more restrooms on this very end of the classroom wing of the building. So that actually increased the capacity to about 750 students. All great things, got more money. We've, planned as best we could along the way. But I tell you, to be honest, with 750 students, it's presented, some challenges, right? How do we accommodate 750 students based on the size cafeteria we have, the kitchen we have, et cetera? So, we have planned for that. So there is going to be some temporary accommodations starting this next fall, which, we think we have solutions for, and that's, we have the stage area, there's a stage between the cafeteria and the gym that can be used for cafeteria space for students to sit. That can accommodate that, and then there's space in Ridgeview Middle School where we're at right now that can accommodate 5th grade. I highlight temporary because, and Ms. Robinson can help me here, based on enrollment projections and where you're at with a lower number of, I think it's pre-K through 1st grade, maybe 2nd grade, we see a lower number of students that are going to be going into the elementary school or utilizing the school. So we think, this is a temporary challenge, but at some point, we're not going to need the stage for additional cafeteria seating, and we're going to be able to bring the 5th grade back to the elementary school. So we've planned for that. We think the plan is a solid plan and it's going to work. The other thing, we know that there's limited, it's hard to believe if you look at the parking lot at this school, you think, oh, there's plenty of parking, but there's not. And when we built the elementary school, we know, the parking got a little bit more constrained. Next year, there's more staff going to be here. We need more parking. So we've already started designing more parking that's going to be at the site in front of the new elementary school. And so we plan to put that parking in place starting next spring so that it's here for next summer. And the other thing we're currently doing is upgrading the sewer system. That's already underway, so that's going to accommodate the additional students that are here as well. So, I would say that it's pretty amazing that if we knew on day one that we're going to have all this extra money, we would have done things probably differently, right? We'd have built this extra large school. We had no idea that money was going to be here, and so I think we did well at planning for a future expansion. I think we've done well at, hey, let's build a larger cafeteria, a larger kitchen that we may need, today, thinking about the future, and we think it's all worked out pretty well, and thank you to the school board for making decisions on how to use that money, because I think it's definitely a great school, and it's going to do great things for the community and the students. So with that, I'm going to let Tim talk about the progress of the newest edition, and then, of course, we'll answer any questions.
So on the new addition, work's continuing there. The ICF block has been installed up to above the 2nd floor. The mason will have the walls up today or tomorrow so we'll be ready to put the floor joists on for the 2nd floor flooring. Then they can continue the ICF walls up and get the roof on, bring the mason back, do the corridor walls, and then bring the mason back and get the roof trusses on and decking and get a roof on this thing pretty quick. They also begin roughing in electrical, working with the mason, installing boxes as they lay the block. Next, the budget and procurement, we're continuing to plan for the furniture that is in need. We plan to order that furniture before the end of the year to save some money because of cost increases. That's been in the progress, and we're working through that now. The low voltage items for phones and servers and that type of thing have already been purchased and are here. And we actually issued a PO yesterday for all the low voltage things for the fire alarm, the speaker system, the intercom, all those things. So all that stuff's in play right now, getting here ready for install. And the project still remains in budget. Next. Here's a few progress photos. You can see here we have the CMUL up on one side. This is the south side of the corridor. Next. This is where they're laying the north side of the corridor up on the first floor. Next. And this was a picture that was taken, this is looking at the same side, the north, looking through the stairwell. Next. And you can see here we have some electrical boxes, and they're just waiting to put them in. Next, I think that was the last one. It's progressing well, and hopefully we will have a roof on it pretty quick and get the second floor going so that Quisenberry can get the walls up. Any questions or comments?
Very good. Does anyone have a question for Tim Curtis?
Any questions or, Mr. Ellswick and Mr. Burge, would you come to the front, please, and in front of our board members, please?
Are we in
It's okay.
trouble? Is this going to the principal's office?
It's safe, sir. It's safe. Come on up. Yeah, I understand. Members of the board. Members of the board, this evening, we are honored to recognize two exceptional individuals who have played a crucial role in transforming our school system. Our construction managers, Tim Burge and Curtis Ellswick, have demonstrated a level of excellence and commitment that's really unmatched. Curtis and Tim Wiskanska have been our partners, our friends, our advocates, our collaborators, our neighbors, our supporters, and one has become an avid Ridgeview fan. We're working on the other one, okay? Their tireless efforts have been essential in bringing our ambitious vision for the new schools. Their guidance enabled us to navigate the complex challenges of budgeting, procurement, construction, and ensuring that the new high school, middle school, elementary school, and career technical school reflect the needs of our students and community. With hundreds and hundreds of phone calls, correct? Meetings, and thousands of emails, they've equipped us with the knowledge and the confidence that we needed to make well-informed decisions. Their skills and sincerity enabled this board to form partnerships with the Board of Supervisors, the IDA, and the U.S. Corps of Engineers. They've always have found time to help us understand our options. As you know, they've been with us in closed sessions many times. Their efforts allowed us to efficiently work with all our partners toward a more common goal of helping our children succeed. They have helped us to provide the most efficient, cost-effective, and beautiful schools for our students. While we know that this journey has not been an easy one, it has been a noble one and well worth it. They have helped us to recreate Dixon County Public Schools from 9 old, outdated, inefficient schools to a modern, impressive pre-K through 12th grade campus, including career technical, that is beautiful, student-oriented, and community-centered, with athletic fields and well-known throughout the state. As the Ridgeview project comes to an end with the transition of Clintwood Elementary School to the Ridgeview campus, and before Dr. Law, our school board member, leaves in December, the board would like to present both of you with a plaque symbolizing our deepest gratitude for your service and leadership. And the plaques are there. Dr. Lyle, if you and Mr. Mullins would like to present the plaques, please, sir.
I'd like to read this so everyone here would understand what we're talking about. In sincere appreciation, the Dixon County School Board recognizes our program manager, Curtis Ellswick, for his expertise and dedication in the construction of Ridgeview High School and Career Center, Ridgeview Middle School, and Ridgeview Elementary School. Your commitment will make a positive impact on the lives of generations of Dixon County children. Thank you.
And Mr. Mullins?
Mr. Burge, in sincere appreciation, the Dickinson County School Board recognizes our Tim Burge for his commitment and sacrifice in the construction of all schools and athletic grounds located to the Ridgeview campus. Tim was with us from the beginning of the project. He became our trusted advisor, neighbor, dedicated Wolfpack sports fan, and our friend. Your contribution has made a significant difference in the educational quality of our children's lives. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me in giving Curtis and Tim a round of applause? We want a picture. Yes, we'd like to have a picture, and if the board members could come to the front, please, and let's have our picture. So that Mr. Hicks is not hiding or anything in that manner. Just slide it
Oh, he'll photobomb it, he won't hide. Okay, you guys ready? Smile. Do one more. Okay, thank you.
Again, please join me with a round of applause.
You got me.
I didn't know Rick could read.
This is Clintwood Elementary.
I was pleased to get to meet the representatives from Scanscap at the BSBA meeting, and they certainly, Dr. Lyle and Rick have been in this process since the beginning, and so have Tim and Curtis, and I don't think Scanscap has sent us two better individuals than the two they sent here. Tim's been here so much, I think most people think he's transferred down. We're going to make him an honorary citizen, I think. And, so it may have to pay a few taxes.
We had several suggestions, honorary citizens, something else, but Dr. Lyle said this has got to be done before I leave, so he's been with us since the beginning of the project, so.
Well, it's been a long journey and a very productive journey, and I hope that our population and especially our students that get the benefit of this excellent facility will have many years of memories and good memories and have an excellent education in every way.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the amended 23-24 Dixon County Public Schools salary scales. Ms. Taylor.
Ms. Taylor will be presenting from her seat since she's our deputy clerk, so.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, as you're aware, in September of 2023, the Virginia General Assembly approved a budget which included an additional 2% raise in salaries from last year's salary, in addition to some funds to address learning loss, tutoring opportunities, and chronic absenteeism. On September 14th, 2023, Governor Youngkin signed the budget bill approved by the General Assembly for fiscal year 23-24. The amounts of additional funding for Dickinson County Public Schools, $1,111,629. That is per pupil funding to be used to address learning loss and implementation of the Virginia Literacy Act. $312,981. That was to increase the state share towards existing support staff salaries and benefits. $119,606. That was for an additional 2% increase from the fiscal year 22-23 rates for SOQ-funded positions, making that effective on January 1st, 2024, which is a partial year of funding. So that total expected increase in state funding for this fiscal year was $1,544,216. As the funds that were allocated for these salary increases were a 2% over last year's salary rates, we did revise all of our current scales. You will remember that in May of 2023, we did approve salary scales that gave 5% increases to all employees, with 7% for teachers, librarians, and guidance counselors. You will now see that the new revised scale places teacher, librarian, and guidance counselor scales adjusted to a 9% increase over last fiscal year scales. All other scales for full-time employees were then adjusted from what was 5% to now a 7% increase over last year's scales. It's important to note that this goes into effect as a partial year, so you won't see the full effect of revising this scale on this year's expenditures. You will see the full year of that starting next year. I wanted to point out that the average annual increase per employee from the original scales that were adopted for this fiscal year, it is an additional 1.9%, and the reason for that is that that 2% was based off of last year's rates per the General Assembly instructions. I would be glad to answer any questions that you may have regarding the salary scales. We're hoping that we can get your approval on these this evening and begin working on contract addendums and getting payroll ready to implement this in the January 2024 direct deposits.
Are there any questions for Ms. Taylor?
Ms. Taylor, regarding this part of the agenda, anyone? If not, our next agenda item is a transition.
Mr.
Pardon me.
Mr. Chairman, we will need a motion to approve the revised agenda, please, sir.
I'll move to adopt these new scales.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no.
Aye.
So the next agenda item is the Clinton Elementary School, Ridgeview Campus 2024-2025 school year. Ms. Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and board members. Last month, we began sharing with the board information on the transition of Clintwood Elementary School to the Ridgeview campus for the 24-25 school year, with the request that the board would guide our steps in the future as to how they would like to see this transition occur. One of the questions that was asked at our last school board meeting, and I think Mr. Hicks asked that, was to look at moving, or let me put it this way, leaving 8th grade with the middle school simply because of the numbers. There we had a very large student enrollment at Ridgeview Elementary School, a large enrollment at Ridgeview High School, and then a significant lower enrollment at Ridgeview Middle School. And so we went back and we've talked with our administrators on this subject. They are looking at their building. As you recall, one of the issues was placement, and so we discussed placing the 8th grade, whether they were part of the high school or the middle school, in that 8th or the 9th grade academy, as we call it, which is an area on the 3rd floor, has its own bathrooms and stairwells and everything there. I'm glad to report to you that our administrators have come together, and with give and take, and okay, we'll give this and that we are now looking at placing 5th grade through 8th grade on the Ridgeview Middle School side. Now, we'll have more information on that, but what that means is that the high school has said that they will give some of their classrooms on the first floor, some of the health rooms. Mr. Whitner has looked at his space, and we're talking to Terry Smith, and it looks like, or may I say, it appears that for next year, if everything works the way that we hope that it does, that 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade will not only be part of Ridgeview Middle School, but they will all be situated at the Ridgeview Middle School on that side. So again, we'll have more information for you in the months ahead. We are still trying to locate classroom spaces, adequate classroom spaces. Mr. Smith, Terry Smith, our maintenance coordinator, is helping us with that. But with this, the projected student enrollment and grade configuration, with the option that was recommended last month to look at, would be Ridgeview Elementary School, pre-K through 4th, would still have 707 students. Ridgeview Middle School, with 5th through 8th grade, 571 students. And Ridgeview High School, with 9th through 12th grade, would have 622. So you see those numbers are a little bit more, there's not the great discrepancy that we had. We're again looking at possible classroom configurations so that the 8th grade can remain with the middle school, on the middle school side, and that we can accommodate 5th grade. So I will have more information on that for you as we go along. And then, of course, in January, we'll ask for, or February, we'll ask for a board vote on that. And so let me stop there and see if you have other recommendations or other thoughts as to providing guidance as we move forward.
Is there another question?
Mr. Hicks, are those numbers more to your,
Well, they're definitely more balanced out than they were, and I think, it sounds like that those folks are coming up with a plan.
Yeah, they're thinking, aren't they?
Yeah.
We're going to do the work.
Yeah, we have that area. We're still one school. We recognize that, but I think the consensus is that 5th through 8th grade, if at all possible, needs to remain at the Ridgeview Middle School. Now, that may change from year to year because of our enrollment. We may need more classes. 5th grade, coming may need more. Right now, we only have 6, so they may need more classrooms as we go up. But again, I think Mr. Ellswick made this point very clearly. If you looked at our enrollment in pre-K, K, and first, you can see that we have a decrease in student population. We might have a bump or two in 4th and 5th grade. I'm talking about larger classes, and we might just have to accommodate that. But for next year, we only work 1 year at a time, but for next year, we feel like we can accommodate the 6th, 5th grade classrooms and all of the 6th, 5th grade classrooms and all of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade on the middle school side. So I think that will be a plus for that. Any other questions or anything else that, if you do think of other ideas, please feel free just to contact us immediately, and we certainly will begin to address it at the December meeting.
Okay, last on their agenda item is the discussion of the food services of the procurement plan. Ms. Taylor, Ms. Compton.
Periodically, with our food services program through both state funding and federal funding, VDOE and USDA require a periodic review and update of our procurement plan. It is time this year for us to review and update that based on any new guidelines that may come from VDOE or USDA. You have a copy of the plan that was included in your board packet. This plan is the procurement plan that shall be implemented starting on December 1st, 2023, and from that date forward until amended. Most of this language is standard and is the same as previous plans. It is generally provided. The requirements are provided to us by VDOE and USDA. I'll go through a few things that are updates, just so you'll be aware of what has changed. We update with our current vendor information in the plan. So whatever current vendors we are using, those are updated within the plan. Any vendors that we are no longer using would have been removed. This plan includes a statement of assurance that positive efforts are made to involve minority and small businesses when procuring food service items. And there is also a written code of conduct policy that is required by the Code of Federal Regulations 2 CFR Part 200. .318. That is at the back. It is the last page, and that is a general code of conduct policy that they have added into the procurement plan, and it helps prevent against employees accepting bribes, accepting gifts, and things like that. It's the standard code of conduct. So I would be happy to answer any questions if you had any of those for me. And while this plan, you do not have to necessarily approve the plan itself, we did want to present this to you and make sure that you have a copy of it. We will need to submit it to VDOE, and we will have to have the board chairman sign it, that we are placing it into effect December 1st.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Does anyone have a question, Ms. Taylor? If not, we'll move on. The motion is not needed for this procurement, just an information out to the school board. Thank you, Ms. Taylor. At this time, we'll have board comments. Mr. Mullins.
It was good to hear about the $400,000 grant that Ms. Martin talked to us about. I was glad to hear about that. And it's been a real blessing to have people like Curtis Ellswick and Tim Burge on our team, and they've enriched our lives, the school, and the community. And glad to see them here and get a presentation and recognition brought to them. And I'm excited as the transition of Clintwood Elementary gets nearer. And so before long, we'll be able to see one community, one facility, and which would be such an advantage to our children.
When the idea developed that we could consolidate the high school, there was some division amongst the county as to whether or not that was an appropriate move or not. The people thought, well, I assume the people thought that it would never work. Our superintendent, Ms. Robinson, our attorney, Mr. Mullins, were there at the start and did a lot more work than I did. I just happened to be there. I think when we see what has occurred, we cannot help but be proud. So I'm proud that we consolidated all of our schools, including the high schools, which, by the way, gave me a pass out for 4 years. Things work out. Thank you.
Mr. Hayden.
I was also glad to hear the news about the security grants. Look forward to that being implemented. Also happy to continue to see the pay scales rise for staff, much deserved, and great to see Curtis and Tim tonight and have them recognized for all their diligent efforts. We appreciate it.
I say, Tim, Curtis, thank you. I know that Dr. Lyle and Mr. Mullins have been around you a lot more, but from what I've witnessed, it's your guys' vision, your flexibility, your professionalism, and just the stewardship of our funds to get the most bang for our buck, and just your talents are very impressive, and so we thank you for that. I'm very excited about being able to adjust the salary scales. Very much needed. It also helps us to close the gap some with neighboring counties. And that's really a joint effort between, the state legislature and our board of supervisors, which have helped us earlier in the year, and this school board, which is committed to doing that for our folks. And I'm very appreciative of the efforts that have gone in from the administration and other folks involved into looking at adjusting those numbers and maybe keeping the 8th graders at the middle school to work those things out. And it sounds like things are going well, and I'm confident that whatever the final decisions are and where we place them at, it's going to be the best for kids and best for the school and overall.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. This seems like forever ago, but in 2007, the Corps of Engineers came down here to meet with me at that time, and there wasn't anything there. But now, if you want to see a miracle in place, there's Congressman Bowser, Congressman Griffith, and I'm sure the senators from Virginia. Those folks all work together and with the other people there to have this put in the president's budget. Now, that was a minor miracle in anybody's book. That's something I've never seen happen for anything in Dickinson County that I'm aware of. And I've got a few years in this school system. The children have such an awesome opportunity, an opportunity to have the best there is. Every child in Dickinson County will have access to the best there is in Dickinson County. And I never thought I'd see that day, but I'm happy to be here for it, and for people like Ms. Robinson and Dr. Lyle and Mr. Mullins and the others, and the attorney, Mr. Mullins, and all the others that played a role in the IDA and the boards of supervisors and et cetera. There were some rough spots, but overall, I think that the outcome was absolutely worth all the effort that was made. And I think our children have been blessed with the most beautiful and effective environment to simply be the best they can be. And I think this numerous doors are open to them because of the outcome that's happened, because of all the work of those people in Washington and Richmond and here in Dickinson County. And it's this is the best example I can think of to see anything in my lifetime that came together in this fashion to give so much to so many in such a good way. At this time, we will now go into closed session. Closed session pursuant to Section 2.23711, Paragraph A of the Code of Virginia. There will be a closed session for the purpose of employment issues related to discussion and consideration of specific individuals for employment as a CNA instructor, special ed teacher, part-time aides, part-time cooks, part-time tutors, substitutes, coaches, resignations, FMLA pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711, Paragraph A and Paragraph 1. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying yes. Aye. All those opposed? Is there a motion to come out of closed session?
So moved. Second.
In discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, no. Motion passes. We're now out of closed session. Ms. Ross, will you please read the certification?
Yes, sir. Whereas the Dickinson County School Board has convened a closed session meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, now therefore be it resolved that the Dickinson County School Board hereby certify that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only the public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened, heard, discussed, or considered. Would you please certify?
I certify.
I'll certify.
I certify.
I certify.
Are there any motions for closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve employment recommendations as presented in closed session.
Is there a second?
Second.
In discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The motion passes. Is there any other business to discuss? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.